Good morning. My name is Aaron Ajani. I am a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I want to welcome you to Gamma Pi's monthly health initiative webinar. Today's subject will be Veterans Affairs. Our special guest today is Dr. James Dula, PhD. He is a retired military commander and Vietnam veteran who served in the Pentagon Air Force Intelligence and the Air Force District of Washington. He is currently serving as the Veterans Affairs Officer and Military Veterans Liaison to the County Executive of Prince George's County. Good morning, Dr. Dula, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us about veterans' health.
Good morning, sir, and it is certainly my pleasure to be here.
Outstanding. So tell me a little bit about your background in the military. I know you had a long and illustrious career.
Well, let me say this. First of all, I want to thank the fraternity for inviting me here because we understand the important role our fraternities serve in the community, and we have extended our efforts to work closer with fraternities and sororities so that we touch all areas of the military community. I signed up for the military. I was 17 years old. And my mother did so very reluctantly with tears streaming down her face. Said, I don't want my boy to sign up. He's the oldest. And my father had already served in World War II in the Pacific, in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, you'll like that.
Yep.
And and my uncles had served in Europe in the Army. My oldest uncle served also in the Navy in the Pacific during World War II. So I always knew I wanted to go in the military. They wanted me to go to college, but I said, I think I'd rather go into the military. It's the height of Vietnam. The class before us had gone into the Marines, and my class, classes always did something different. My class went in the Air Force and the Navy. Uh, Before we could leave for boot camp, many of those that had gone to class before had already returned home, killed in Vietnam. And that really struck a chord in all of our lives. So that really, really made us want to serve even more because we knew that there was a certain patriotic spirit going around. So I went in the military, and the first assignment was the Pentagon. Uh, I had in high school, the coach said I had to take typing. I told him I did not want to take typing. I played football, and football players don't type. It was a male thing. It was a chauvinist thing. I know. But he said, if you're going to graduate, you must type. Well, when I got to Air Force School of Administration, part of the requirement was to type. And it was about a 12-week course. And I raised my hand. I said, I don't need to learn to type. I can already type 40 words a minute. They gave me a test and I passed it. And so with that, I skipped ahead to the next 6 weeks and became the honor student. Honor student received a special assignment. And I did not know at the time that I was the first African American to serve at the highest level of Air Force intelligence in uniform during the Cold War. And so that office was targets. Well, the rest worked out real fine because the officers there saw that I could type. I could type real good. I was an administrator, and they encouraged me to go to college, which I did. I met some notable people that was there at the same time, like Colonel Chappie James, who went on to be the Air Force's first four-star, and Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. That was the first black Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. And we used to talk in the hallways like it was nothing to it, and they encouraged me. Well, I went on to college after returning from Vietnam service, and graduated and applied for officers training school. Uh, and from there, I had 3 tours of duty in the Pentagon. They would not let me go. And I got to serving as an Air Force commander, regardless where I went. And I got to serve in Georgia, Guam. I was chosen by the White House to be Air Force representative during the Panama Canal transition team down in Panama. And then while I was there, they chose me to go down into vacation land to El Salvador, Ecuador, Colombia, Honduras, and places like that under President Clinton for the war on drugs. So I'll say this, those were great assignments. I enjoyed being also the first African American to serve as the executive officer for presidential at the 89th Military Airlift Wing where I also was administrative commander for the Air Force One pilot's office. That was an additional responsibility. So I did have a great military career, loved every minute of it. And so I try to teach our youth today that we all stand on someone's shoulders and to do our best to let them know that we respect them. And that's why, let me throw this in. When I was chosen to go to the Pentagon, they said you must come up with 3 references to get your top secret security clearance. And the security clearance really far exceeded top secret, as you can imagine.
Mhm.
And I didn't know who to go to. And so I finally thought, I said, who can I go to get references? And this is what I tell our children. I had attended segregated schools, but those were some very, very committed teachers. So I went back to my black high school principal, to my black high school math teacher, and to my English teacher. They all wrote me stellar recommendations, and I received the top secret plus with no problem. So that's
Mhm.
why I really want to work extensively with our fraternities, because just like you, Mr. Johnny, you are retired Navy, and we have been tried, tested, and overcome the test of time. And
Yes,
now we got
yes.
something to give back together. So that's me. And I went on to do some things in Prince George's County, but that's my military career.
Outstanding. Dr. Dula, you had a 30-year career, which is outstanding. A Vietnam veteran, and I did 20 years in the Navy as well. No war experience, but I did my 20 years, and both of us, we've seen a lot in the military. And one of the topics that we had to deal with every year. Every year we had training, um, and one of those topics was suicide awareness and prevention.
Mhm.
And even today, as a retired military member, you still hear about veterans and the issue of suicide. So, can you tell us a little bit more about a little bit about suicide awareness and how and things that we can do to try to help these veterans who are in need, having these mental issues going on?
That is a very, very important issue today. Uh, you have different categories of veterans, and the way that I have labeled them is your World War II veteran, your Korean War veterans, your Vietnam War veterans, and your Middle Eastern veterans. In each one of those categories, they faced different circumstances. So today, when we look at the military community, we have to remind ourselves that there's anywhere between 20 and 30 veterans per day committing suicide. One of the big reasons they do that is when we come back home from the military, and those of us that served in war and conflict and some other issues in the military, we harbor those things. We don't share them, and so you can only stack up so many chips on your shoulders before they come crashing down. And so the when I came back to the Office of Veteran Affairs. And the reason I say I came back, I created the state's first Office of Veteran Affairs in 2005 when I served as the county's Health and Human Services DCAO director for Prince George's County.
Mhm.
And like you and others on this call, when I came to civilian life, there was nothing in Prince George's County for me, nowhere I could go to say I'm a veteran. How can I get help? So what happened is we created the Office of Veteran Affairs. This year we celebrate the 20th anniversary. I came back out of retirement in 2019 to be able to move the office forward. The first program that I created was the suicide awareness and prevention. Every day I get telephone calls from veterans who are suffering the ills of, well, I say the ills of PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder.
Mhm.
I talk to their wives, I talk to their spouses, to significant others, to their children, and I find out that oftentimes after the person may have considered suicide, because we haven't had any on my watch, as far as I know, after they consider suicide, when we talk about it, they don't share their stories with anybody.
All right.
So they come in, and I'm talking about primarily right now Vietnam veterans who want to talk veteran to veteran, or Vietnam veteran to Vietnam veteran, and they'll sit down in my office and they'll bare their soul and tell me what's going on. They'll tell me, now the war ended in 1975, but they will tell me, I've never shared this story with anyone else.
Mhm.
I've kept it to myself, and I have considered suicide. And so that's why it's so important that we connect with our community veterans, make sure they know that Office of Veteran Affairs is here to help, and make sure that they know that we have programs set up with businesses in Prince George's County, and with hospitals and healthcare businesses and nonprofits, to help them overcome any issues they're having, especially if they've had a thought about suicide. Suicide. I'll give you one story. I had one person to come in, and he sat down, and he said, "I'm going to tell you a story I haven't shared with anyone else. In Vietnam, I was known as a tunnel rat," and he was a petite gentleman. And if you know what a tunnel rat is, those were the people that went into the trenches, into the tunnels, to root out the enemy in the tunnels. And oftentimes they had to kill and drag bodies out, and they saw everything. And it was a tough time. And he said, "I never shared that. And I have considered suicide. So I'm talking to you today." And I just listened for about an hour.
Mhm.
But there's a million stories like that, whether it was on a ship, or whether it was on a battlefield. It doesn't matter. In the desert, everyone comes back with a story. It just depends on what level that story is impacting your life. So yes, that's why we often say, if you see a veteran, thank them, because they may open up to you. And if you see a Vietnam veteran, thank you is not the word. To a Vietnam veteran, you say welcome home. Because when we
Mhm.
came home, we were not welcome. There were no parades, there was no respect, and many Vietnam veterans still harbor ill will and will not go to the VA to be seen, because they hold that grudge in their hearts because they didn't take care of them. So what does that do? Frustration builds up, and then the possibility of suicide, 20 to 30 a day. So we have programs built in to help our veterans. All they have to do is give our office a call, and we'll make sure that we lead their footsteps forward.
Outstanding. I had never heard anyone say, "Don't say thank you to a Vietnam veteran." This is the first time I've ever heard that. So
That's,
the so
yeah,
you say welcome home. That.
that says a lot, because I remember when I was heading home, uh, and I know Mister Johnny, you're frozen. Maybe I'm not, but when I was heading home, on the Freedom Bird is what we called it. Uh, They said, before you get back to the United States, remove your uniform and put on civilian clothes, because you're not respected back home. And every Vietnam veteran that I have spoken with was pretty much told the same thing. And their feelings are still hurt, because you were willing to give your life. You didn't run. You didn't come up with excuses not to serve. You said, it's my duty, my patriotic duty, and I will do it. And yet when you came back home, there was no thank you. So now we say thank you, and maybe buy them a cup of coffee and give them a pat on the back. Is anyone listening? Are you still there? But anyway, I'll go on. I tell you, veterans are very prideful. They really, really care about their country, their service, and it doesn't matter. People call me now and ask me such things as, "Or am I still proud that I served?" Yes, I am, because I'm from North Carolina originally. This is my country. My father fought for this country. It's the only country I know. And although I've visited many, this is home. And I will continue to say, I believe in America. We may have some circumstances and some conditions that cause us to question who we are from time to time. But in the end, We always come back home and we thank those that served and we move forward. When I came to uh, Office of Veteran Affairs, one of the first things I did was create the Help with Hope program. The Help with Hope program means H, health, E, employment and education, L stands for labor and certifications that we can help with, and P, people's quality of life. So under the H, health, housing, homelessness, we do have programs we work with to serve those that have mental health issues, PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, those that may be suffering from uh, cancer because of their service in Vietnam or Korea along the DMZ, or handled Agent Orange coming through Guam. Agent Orange is the chemical that was used to kill the foliage in Vietnam that had to be transported there. And 10 or 15 years later, we found out it didn't just kill the foliage, it was killing the troops that served on the ground in Vietnam and Thailand and along the DMZ and Korea, and those that transported the chemical. So we deal with them and we help them address the issues of cancer and other things that are associated with Agent Orange. And not only that, from those that pass away due to the cancers or the melanomas or other issues, we make sure we're there for the surviving spouses. That's our quality of life program. It's a holistic program. And we help our surviving spouses get through everything from the funeral to after the funeral has passed. And so we do that for our veterans. E stands for employment. And we make sure, especially during this time, that we have a list of employers that are willing to hire our veterans with different backgrounds, different skills. And we call upon that list often when the veteran calls us. And we also work with Employer Prince George's. We have points of contact we can send our veterans to. We also work with the colleges, Prince George's Community College, University of Maryland, and other colleges to make sure that when veterans transition from the military and they come back to civilian life, as they seek to go back into education, we have avenues and programs and institutions that we can send them to help them out. And let me go back to H right quick because I didn't talk about homelessness. Homelessness is a big issue. We do not have the largest number of homeless in Prince George's County, I must say that, but we do have some that are, some that want to go into housing, some that do not. So we address both of those. And we have partnered, we have a unique program where we have partnered with landlords who own facilities and rent out rooms to those veterans. We also have some like Friendship House that and U.S. Vets that will take in veterans, and there is no fee attached. So we have hit every avenue when it comes to homelessness, because I have vowed that no one will be left out, no one will be left behind, and no one will be left alone. And so we make sure that we reach out to them. We work with April Showers to make sure they can get showers where they're at in the woods or living in doorsteps or living on the streets. And April Showers under Lieutenant Colonel Fobb, who retired from the Army, takes her unit out. They get showers, one side for those with disabilities, the other side for those that don't have disabilities. And we make sure that they are cared for. I did say no one left alone, and we really mean that. And we get calls from all over the DMV, although we serve primarily Prince George's County. That's our mission. The last one was health, housing, and homelessness. We do have people transitioning to Prince George's County. And from the housing standpoint, we refer them to realtors and others who can help them find a house in the community where they wish to live. And so we have a very robust program when it comes to making sure that veterans are cared for from a health standpoint with the hospitals, community organizations, to the housing standpoint for those transitioning in and out, or just call for help. Maybe they just need a lawyer. We help them with that lawyer. Or those that are homeless, we give everyone the attention they need. And many are referred through other veterans, and we take care of them. But E is employment and education. We do that. L is labor and skills development. We try to make sure that if a veteran is coming here and he wants to work, say in construction or engineering or plumbing and things of that nature, we work with Team Builders Academy at Prince George Community College and the unions to make sure that we know where the internship programs are and to ensure that they have an opportunity to take their skills from military to community life. The last one is people quality of life, and that's where I lump everything else to include VA disability claims. Big deal. And it's not just for the veterans. It may be for the surviving spouse who has lost their loved ones, and they would like to file a claim for either aid in attendance, maybe, or dependent indemnity compensation, which is a fee they can, if they qualify, they can apply for that, and that's probably about an additional $1,800 a month. DIC. Uh, so those are the core programs that we have to address every need that comes across our desk and through our office at the new, and I call it the new because we started it in 2019, the new Military Veterans and Families Resource Center. And the Military Veterans and Families Resource Center developed from the Office of Veteran Affairs so that anybody that has a question, a concern, or needs help can walk into our office and they're going to get that help right on the spot. And we'll make sure before they leave that they leave with a smile. And we have so many people that call us back and just overwhelmed because of the fact that there's someone they can talk to, and many say, "Can I volunteer afterward?" So that's the commitment for my veterans community. Now that's the help. Let me give you the hope right quick, and then we can get the discussion. From the hope side, suicide awareness and prevention, we created that program. From the help side, hope side, we also created the surviving spouse, and this is very important, the surviving spouse program. Whereas every surviving spouse that contacts us from the time of death to far after, we will give them help to make sure that they know they're not alone and tell them about programs they may not know of. We also have the Warm Hearts call list. The Warm Hearts call list we developed because we were receiving so many phone calls from people throughout the county and the region saying, "I'm alone. I lost my loved one. I have nowhere to turn. I'm depressed. I need food. I need help with my utilities. Where do I turn?" And we take care of them. And then we call them once a week at least to say, "How are you doing? Did we serve your need? Are you okay? What more can we do?" And Miss Williams, who is a survivor is a surviving spouse, her husband was a Vietnam veteran who was the victim of Agent Orange, and she runs that program. And I tell you, we have an all volunteer office except for me, and with Miss Williams doing the Warm Hearts call list, and Miss Carrington doing the surviving spouse program. Her husband was also a Vietnam veteran who died from complications of Agent Orange. We have a very, very aggressive program. They take it to heart, and they make those calls from the office and at home. They don't stop at 5 o'clock. And so we're just very happy to have the Warm Hearts call list, the surviving spouse program, the veterans, the suicide prevention program. We also have the women's program because women are the fastest growing subcategory of veterans today. We have approximately 10,000 women veterans in Prince George's County. Not only do we serve the Army, the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, the Coast Guard, we also serve the National Guard and the reservists. And we remind them that if you served as a reservist on our National Guard on orders from the President of the United States, whether it was in Afghanistan or Iraq or somewhere, if the president called you up, you're a veteran if you served the entire commitment. And that's generally 90 to 120 days.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know this. So we make sure that we take care of them too, because I feel it's my commitment to serve all those that served in uniform. And when they get out, they call me and say, "Hey, I was in the National Guard. I didn't go anywhere. I was at home the whole time." Doesn't matter. What do you want to do now? What type of
Mhm.
employment? Where do you want to live? How can I help you? And we work very close with our National Guard, the General Bankhead, who is over the National Guard here in the state of Maryland, to make sure that we're taking care of them. Yesterday, I was with the state of the base at Joint Base Andrews, listening to what they're doing and reassuring them through our county executive that we're here to help them with transitioning or any other thing they need. It's a big task for an all volunteer office that serves the largest number of veterans in the entire DMV. That's Washington uh,
Mhm.
and everybody else. We have the largest number in the entire state of Maryland. Uh,
Outstanding.
and because of it, we created the last thing, a coalition. A coalition is a joint coalition. You remember jointness from the military. I
Mhm.
was a joint task force commander under President Clinton down in South America doing the anti-drug program. And I saw how it worked. And so we created a joint program with Prince George's County, Calvert County, Charles County, St. Mary's County. And we also work with places like Howard County, Anne Arundel County, Washington, D.C., because to me, that joint effort is going to make sure that we spread the word that we're not a standalone organization, but we are part of a bigger network that serves all veterans. And we do call and talk to each other. So as you can see, that's a short presentation. Oh, lastly, we do have a youth program. The recruiters and the junior ROTC instructors came to me and said many of our students are having difficulty passing the ASFEB and the Armed Forces Qualifications Test. So we got with the Memorial Library System, and through the Memorial Library System, there's a pre-test that they can take under the guidance of the library system. And if they need help getting with science, technology, whatever it is, then there's a tutor that will be provided to them at no cost, free. We
Wow, I
have
I did not know that.
that program, and they are now serving in the Navy. They're serving in the Army, and the mothers and the grandparents are calling me. Said, "Doc, can I kiss you? Can I hug you? What can I do?" Because now they're in the military. So
Mm.
those are the type things that we do. We're committed, and we want to work closely with you to make sure that we take that ASFAB Armed Forces Qualification Test to our youth, and we let grandparents and parents and veterans know what we're doing, surviving spouses know what we're doing, because we are committed, and we'll stand with you and help our veterans throughout and others throughout the community. So that's why I appreciate being on with you so much this morning.
Dr. Dula, you have given us a lot of information and talked about a lot of resources that the veterans have. So, but let me ask you a specific question dealing with you talked about surviving spouse. Let's so when a veteran passes, when he dies, and now the surviving spouse needs to prepare for um for the funeral services, what type of services does the VA have that could assist that spouse with the burial of the veteran?
Yeah, and let me clarify something. When I say veteran, I'm talking about it could be a man or a woman, because a lot of times, and I did this the other day. I was at the hospital, and the guy had his Vietnam hat on. And I said, "Welcome home, brother," and we had a short conversation. And then it dawned on me, well, ask his wife if she's a veteran, because they were together. And
Hmm.
the women have brought it to my attention. Don't forget us, because we're
Yeah,
veterans too. So
right.
I'm spreading that word around. What the VA does, and especially what my office does, and you may have heard of a number of cuts that's taking place at the VA. I understand that it could be as many as 80 to 82,000 VA personnel being cut across the nation. Um, what we have seen is when a surviving spouse or a military person calls the VA recently, uh, if they say they're from Prince George's County or in that region, oftentimes VA will send them to us. Now we're not set up like that, but we'll take care of any veteran that contacts us. And so when a spouse calls, and said, I just lost my significant other. And I received 4 of those calls this week alone. The first thing I asked them, do you have the DD 214, which is the discharge and the status of the military person?
Mhm.
That DD 214 would show where they're assigned. It would show what their decorations were. It would show if they were honorably discharged or what the discharge status is. That's the first thing that's needed, because the next thing we will help them with is a checklist that we use to get the DD 214. Make sure that you are looking at the correct funeral home that to administer the services for you. They often ask, where can I get my flag? Where can I get the headstone? We walk them through that process too. And then from there, once they get the DD 214, and we ask them, do you have insurance papers? Do you know what insurance may be coming by through? So we have a complete checklist where we help those who are married to military veterans get through this as easy as possible. It's not easy, but we help we simplify it for them. So the DD 214 is the first thing they'll do, and then after that, make sure that you know where all the insurance papers are. Make sure you talk to you. If a spouse is still alive, make sure that they talk to you, because we are finding out that many of us men are not talking to our wives, and when we're gone, they don't know where the deed is to the house, what insurances are available to. They don't know about DIC, dependent indemnity compensation, which means that they may be eligible for some additional funds. They don't know about surviving funds that may be available. And so, what the VA does is and the Office of Veteran Affairs, we give them a briefing based on that DD 214 and any other papers that they may have that we can review and get them through the process. And that's the most important thing we can do.
That's outstanding. I know I've spoken to some spouses who told me that the process is kind of overwhelming for them because they didn't know what to do once their spouse passed. And you all are offering these services to help these spouses. That is a true testament to your commitment to these veterans.
And that is at no cost. I have had some that came in that they were contacted by lawyers and others in the grocery store and the supermarkets and Kmart or wherever. And they found out that they had lost their loved one. They said, "Oh, we can help you," but they wanted to charge a fee.
Mhm.
And
Right.
so please help us spread the word that VA disability claims we do at no cost. Everything we do through the Office of Veteran Affairs, Military Veterans and Families Resource Center is free. And you don't have to do the paperwork to fill out that disability claim, whether you're a spouse, surviving spouse, or the veteran. We have resources to fill the paper out for you.
Wow.
VAV, Disabled American Veterans, are our partner. VFW, Veterans of Foreign War, they're our partner. American Legion, they're our partner. And we have 2 state VSOs, Veteran Service Officers, who will fill that out for you. The only thing I ask is that you come to us first so that I can explain to you what the process is, and I can direct you to the best resource that's going to help you individually get the attention you
Mhm.
need.
Outstanding. Now, do you also assist veterans with filing their disability claims? For instance, when they leave the military and they want to submit their claims for disability.
Yes, we do. We receive calls. My office, I alone receive generally in the area of 30 calls a day.
Mm.
That's not counting the ones at the front desk, the ones going to Miss Williams, the one going to Miss Carrington on the calls they get. I get 30 calls a day. And it's not atypical for me to get between 100 and 200 to 300 emails a day.
Mm.
Many of those are asking questions. Dr. Dula, how do I get rental assistance? How do I get help with my VA disability claim? How do I get this or that? And yes, we provide services for all that because the partnerships we have, Okay, everybody's committed, most are volunteers, and they take it from the heart, and they're all veterans. So to answer your question, yes, the VSOs we serve with, they will do the claims. You don't have to worry about filling out the paperwork. They have a direct connection to the Veteran Affairs Office. I mean, to the to the Veterans Affairs Office, but also the VA in Washington D.C., to where they will ask you to, if they can sign a limited power of attorney to represent you between yourself and the VA, and then they will take it from there. You don't have to be confused. You bring that DD 214 in. If you want to put in for a disability, just make sure that it is service connected. You can't get out and 5 years later break your leg and then have arthritis there and then say, oh, I want to put in a claim. No, you had to have broken that leg on military duty. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cheapest way, easiest way I can explain it.
Yeah.
Anything must be service connected. And that's where it's important to come and sit and talk with me, because oftentimes veterans will say, nobody's explained it to me that way. To where if you want to put in a claim, I will sit and talk to you, just like the grandfather that came into me with his grandson and his fiance this week, and he's in a mobile car, one of these mobile units, and he rolls in and he says, I want to put in a claim. And I said, well, what do you want to claim? First of all, do you have the DD 214? Yes. Did you serve in Vietnam? Yes, because I have some that said I served in Vietnam, but when I saw the DD 214, they weren't Vietnam veterans, they were Vietnam era veterans, and that makes a difference.
Yeah.
So he said yes. And I said, well, have you put in a claim before? Now, remember, the war ended in 1975. And he says, no, I've never put in a claim. Many Vietnam veterans will tell you that.
Yeah.
And so we're talking, and I said, anything you want to claim has to be on the PACT Act. Now, listen to this. The PACT, PACT Act, okay? Yep. Presumptive conditions list. PACT Act, presumptive conditions list. And for Agent Orange. His grandson looked it up on the phone and at my desk, and he looked up and he says, oh, Granddad, you have high blood pressure. Yes, I do. Well, we're going to put in for that because that's about 10% disability. And it's almost automatic for a Vietnam veteran. But have your medical records to prove it. He said, oh, Granddad, you have diabetes. That's on the presumptive conditions for Agent Orange. So now we're talking about he could possibly be getting 50, 60 percentage rating.
Mm-hmm.
And complicated with other things. I told Granddad before he left, I said, Granddad, from what I'm looking at, you're between 60 and 100% with diabetes and high blood pressure and a couple other things. So let's get you set up with a VSO and get you started. He called me back the next day and he was in tears. He said, gosh, I don't know how to thank you. We got the paperwork done. I signed the power of attorney. I showed my medical records. I had my DD 214 and we submitted the claim right on the spot. It's the kind of stuff that we do.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had known about yours when I was making my disability claims.
Well, I had gone to Air Force District of Washington. I'm an Air Force. I served as the executive director and the director of administration for Air Force District of Washington during my tenure. So I went over and I spoke to the general to introduce myself. We had a good conversation. Well, he said, I'm going to need your services. I'm getting ready to leave in a couple of months. So the general that was in charge of all of Air Force District of Washington used our services.
Outstanding. Okay.
He called me from his retirement home and said, thank you. But that's what we do. We're veterans.
Yep.
And, I often say it's veterans helping veterans.
Yes, sir.
And now I have had a several veterans who have passed away, and the wives call me up and they said, Dr. Dula, my husband told me before, if anything happens to him, to call you. And that's, and I wear that as a badge of honor. Because if they're calling me and the husbands have told them, call Dr. Dula if something happens to me. And I've received a half dozen calls like that this year. Mm-hmm. That goes to show you the level of service that we're providing.
Yes, indeed. So, Dr. Dula, where is your office?
We're located in the Upper Marlboro, and I know Upper Marlboro is an extended location, but we're downtown in the old county administration building.
Okay.
Okay, on Governor Oden, Oden, Governor Oden Boulevard. And it is the county administration building, Governor Oden Boulevard, lower level. L23 is the room. And I'll put it in the chat. Let's see, where's the chat at? But anyway, and we generally ask people to, if they're going to walk in, to try to walk in between 10 and 3. Because first thing in the morning we have meetings. Mm-hmm. Then we address all the emails that we received during the night. And then at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, we start wrapping up to make sure that we have answered everybody's emails and made all the phone calls and things of that nature. So you can imagine we're receiving approximately 40 calls a day. I generally have somewhere between 12 and 20 phone calls to call back. And the other ones are for general information, and I can often email those back. But we don't leave until everybody's contacted.
Outstanding. You're doing great work with the Veteran Affairs Office. And I thank you for your work, for your service, and welcome back, Dr. Dula.
Well, we do have a new. I might say this too. We do have a website. You can just put in Office of Veteran Affairs, Prince George's County, and Office of Veteran Affairs, Prince George's County, and it will come up. Also, as of the 1st of May, you'll be able to view our Facebook. We've had a Facebook for a long time, but Dr. Dula is not an IT person. He's not that great. And I tell you what, even if I was, I just didn't have time to do it. But now under me, we have the Commission for Veterans. And the Commission for Veterans, there's a lot of talent that goes hand in hand on that commission. And one of the people on there is the vice chair, Miss Henderson, Commissioner Henderson, and she's an IT person. And we got together, and she's going to be handling our joint Office of Veteran Affairs Commission for Veterans Facebook page. Mm-hmm. So I'll make sure you guys know it'll launch at the first week of May, and then you'll be able to see us on the web page, and you'll be able to see us on Facebook and Nextdoor when we advertise on Nextdoor. So we are really coming into the 21st century now.
Outstanding. Okay. So Dr. Dula, is there anything else you'd like to discuss in regards to Veterans Affairs? I know you've given us a lot of information, and I'm bombarded, and I'm a veteran. I'm like, I didn't know that. I didn't know this. So there's a lot that I don't know that you have told, that you've said today.
I would really love for someone to be on our volunteer committee, because the volunteer committee, we share information and things and updates and things that we're doing. And the volunteer committee takes it to the community. For example, the things that you're doing, and we would like for you to share it with your brothers and others throughout the community, based on what you've heard today, and have a representative on the volunteer committee. We also have a military a partnership with churches and religious institutions, because one of the things we realized that veterans are in church.
Yes.
And so we created the Veteran Ministries Partnership. So we partner with the churches and religious institutions throughout Prince George's County, so that we can send them information and they share it with their congregations. And I get calls all the time that telling me that I heard about you through my church. So we would love for someone to be on our volunteer committee and help us get that word out to the community, because we have too many veterans that I encounter that still tell me, I didn't know you were there. But then again, oftentimes I'll ask, do you know who your county council representative is? Do you know who the county executive is? Do you know who your district senator or delegate is? And oftentimes they can't tell me. So it's an enlightenment program. And I do go out, and I've known you since Crossland, Mr. Johnny, and I'm still teaching history. and I'm still accepting and appreciate accepting community engagements, going out doing presentations,
Hmm.
inspirational and innovative speeches, and things of that nature. So spread the word that I love talking to people in the community. So I don't care if it's 3 people or 103 people. Let them know that for our children, I'd love to come out and give some inspirational talks based on the type of history that Mr. Johnny and I have had. I'd like to come out and talk to the seniors. Matter of fact, uh, I've been invited now to go and talk to seniors who are in assisted living facilities and others, just like, and I'll toss this one out, just like at Skybridge. If you haven't visited Skybridge, I'm telling you, it's a very nice place. But then there's other smaller assisted living homes where veterans are, and I go out and talk to them too. So we have a list of assisted living, of health care, home care, the whole 9 yards that we're connected with so that I can get out and talk to veterans and let them know you are not alone. So please, anytime you hear of an opportunity for me to go out, speak with a veteran, speak with a surviving spouse, speak with a family, and like this month, we have the month of the military child. I'll be going out and awarding letters to military to families that had military children with them as they served. And anytime you hear of an opportunity, please let me know because the door is open, and we look forward to moving forward with your partnership.
Outstanding. And there are a lot of veterans in the fraternities and sororities, and I will pass this information on to them, and I know that we're gonna have a partnership in the future, so that we're gonna invite you out to speak to and we do things with senior citizens as well. We
Mhm.
have different activities that we do with them, and we go to the senior citizens homes as well. So I know that there is opportunity for us to partner in the future with Veterans Affairs, and our history goes back a long ways to Crossing High School, um I look forward to having to continue our partnership as retired veterans.
Well, I tell you what, we're already in a separate brotherhood, other than on this call today with the fraternity. But you and I and veterans just like us,
Yep.
I often tell them we're in a well-established, long-established fraternity, and that is the brotherhood and sisterhood of being military veterans, and that is a distinguished alumni to be a member of. And I look forward to continuing to work with you. But if there's any questions, I'll take those too.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see any questions in the chat so far. Um, but you probably answered everyone's question, to be honest with you, because you,
Uh-oh.
you gave a lot of information that was great.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that you were armed with the type of issues that I face on a daily basis,
Right.
whether it's health, housing, homelessness, education, uh, employment, labor and skills development. I know the county needs CDL drivers right now. Pass that around. Teachers are recruiting teachers, and VA disability and assistance with getting that paperwork done. Those are some of the key areas, and as you can see, why I created the Help with Hope program, because it takes in everything.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Outstanding. Well, Dr. Dula, I will be contacting you in the near future so we can continue our partnership.
Mhm.
I want to thank you for the time that you've allotted to give us. Um, I look forward to seeing you again, sir.
Well, I look forward to being with you again, sir. And thanks again. And I know you're all busy, so I won't hold you up because I can keep on talking. But
I see you
thank you,
posted
Mr.
your
Johnny.
office number up here. I'll pass this on as well. So 'cause
Please.
I was actually going to ask you ask your office number, but thank you very much for that.
Yes, sir.
And there are a lot of veterans. I see them all the time, and they ask me about what they have questions, and I can answer some of the questions, but not all of them. But I know that you can, so I'll be passing your information on to other veterans that I meet as well, in churches and my fraternity.
Yeah, and just let them know that we're part of their volunteer committee. And if you have any questions, just give them a call at that number, or email me at that email address, and we'll make sure that we get back to them. And especially if they talk about the fraternity, I tell you, Omega Psi, if they talk about the fraternity, man, I'm telling you, we're gonna hop to, stand to attention, check our gig lines, and make sure that we're right on point. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right, guys, I've got to go now and hang out with the American Legion. They're having an event today, and we're going to be setting up at Post 259 in Clinton
Okay.
to brief them. And we do a lot of community activities through the displays we set up at various places.
Mhm.
And they're normally manned by myself or a volunteer that's close to the Office of Veteran Affairs or one of the commissioners. So we'll be doing that in Clinton today, and looking forward to it.
Outstanding. Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Thank you for your service and welcome home.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Take care.
Take care, sir.
Yes, sir.